Yo! Good afternoon, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, your guy, your repertoire, DLG REPPIN. Without that G at the end. And I'm doing another football context, yet again. Hope you're all well, hope you're enjoying the sun sensibly, but following the government guidelines, yeah? And I mean, following the government guidelines. Right, well, where can I start? I'm going to talk briefly on Manchester United. And it states here, Manchester United record overall loss of 3.3 million from January the 1st to March 31st, primarily down to 51.7% decrease in broadcast revenue. Wow. It's not often the so-called richest football club in the world, or one of the richest football clubs in the world, lose out on profit, but welcome to 2020 coronavirus. That's the reality, I suppose. Suppose if it's happening to Man United, then it will happen to any big club in the country. Arsenal's lost revenue, that I should know about. Liverpool could lose revenue, and they're champions-elect. Man City will lose a bit of revenue, and that will go for Chelsea. Even Newcastle, somewhere down the line, will lose some revenue. Not that they're not losing any. Chelsea, I've said, I think. So it's it's costing clubs millions of pounds, and it's millions of pounds that they can do without losing, or they can do with to make a difference. You know, you never know. So it won't. I shouldn't expect it. I shouldn't expect it to affect Man United doing business in this summer's transfer window. They've got Jadon Sancho on top of their shopping list. They've got other targets as well. And I shouldn't expect the board of directors to be affected in their pocket money, or their wages for that matter. Neither should the managers and the players. But the fans could be affected. And Manchester United, they have to do the right thing now and reduce the season ticket prices by 20% to 25%. You know, because not every Manchester United fan in that stadium will be able to afford what's been asked of them to pay. It's a similar situation at Arsenal. And I will get to Arsenal in a minute. With Man United, the team on the pitch, they've gone 11 games unbeaten. You know, they were going well with Ole Solskjaer. It's a shame that COVID-19 has put a stop to their form and to stop to the football, really. But with Manchester United, well, they can, I'm sure the club at the top, they can work a way to making that 51.7% back, and that 3.3 million back. I'm sure they'll make it up. So moving on in other news, Lucas Podolski has spoken to Sky Sports News, and he was on a show on Sky Sports News, and he stated that Arsenal are not believing, they're not living up to their potentials. And in the last couple of years, he said they're not living up to their potential in the last couple of years. Those were his words, and he's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong. You know, in the time that he was playing for Arsenal, he won an FA Cup winners' medal. And I think that was his last season. And then he got sold elsewhere, maybe Turkey. And he spoke highly of Arsene Wenger, about how he advised him to be calm and to be focused in his time at Arsenal. And he spoke highly of Ozil, you know, about what he's like as a player and how he feels Ozil can make a difference once he's on top of his game. But those are the pinpoints I can only give you. But it was good to hear him talk about Arsenal and what he was up to and how he was getting on with his football career. And talking about having 130-odd German caps, which is unthinkable. But that's what he accomplished. So, yeah, big up yourself, Lucas Podolski, yeah? I hope one day you watch this video. You might even be watching today. But if you are watching today, yeah, big up yourself, Lucas Podolski. Thanks for the 3 years that you committed to us, and thanks for the beautiful goals you got on that left peg of yours. Voila. Sweet. Mwah. Good goals. And good luck in your present adventure and for your future as well. And for your family as well. Wish you all the best, mate. So let's move on to other news. Paul Merson has come out a couple of days ago, and he spoke openly about his battles with addiction to drugs and alcohol. And he said about 16 months ago that he was in a situation where he'd always want to drink, and it got to that point where he went to go and seek help, and 16 months later, he said that he never touched a drop. He gave his word to the whole viewers, to many of viewers around the world who was watching him, or in this country that was watching him, and he gave his word that he never touched a drop. Before then, he was wanting to drink so he can get to talk to people, you know, and he said that he lacked confidence of talking to people, making friends, if he didn't have a drink. But once he had a drink, he felt that that was his confidence of talking to people. Don't get me wrong, he didn't like the lifestyle he was living, he stated. He said that it was just tearing him apart, you know. And for him to come out openly and to speak to Graham Souness, Ed Chamberlain, Jamie Redknapp, you know, they were very supportive of him, and every question he was asked, yeah, he answered it terrifically and as intelligent as possible. So yeah, big up yourself, Paul Merson. I personally don't know what it feels like to want it to drink, but it does lead to selfishness, and that's something you spoke about, how selfish you used to be. And it takes a man, I won't mean in that way, but maybe it takes courage, should I use the word courage? It takes a lot of courage, you know, to overcome what you went through with the drug and gambling habits, as well as the drink. It takes a lot of guts to overcome these situations that face us adults. And I can say that when I look at my lifestyle in the last 20 odd years, I'm not proud of it. And I've thought about the drinking side of things, and I think to myself, is it going to be worth it? I ask myself that question, is it going to be worth it? Because I don't feel it is. Because Merson, as a player, whether you had a drink or had a sniff or whatever you did, I would never fault you, especially when you put in the performances for Arsenal for over a decade. The goals, the assists, the ability to beat a man out of nothing. Oh, I can't fault that. There was no flaws to your game, really. You were a top talent and a top class footballer. And it was a joy to watch you play for the Arsenal. It's a shame that I didn't personally watch you live, but however, you were terrific as a player, and you're terrific as a pundit, you know. You're not one of those players that is not scared to speak the truth about the Arsenal. You know you're Arsenal better than me. I admit that hands down. I put my hands up to it and say, yeah, you know you're Arsenal better than me. You've played for the club for over a decade. You obviously got a rough idea what goes on behind the scenes. You know a little bit more than I do. And you can look at an Arsenal player and you can identify whether he's good enough or not. And you know you're allowed to say who's good enough and what's not good enough for Arsenal. You know? And I appreciate your honesty about Arsenal. Comparing us to teams and the reasons why we can't be up there with the Liverpools and Man Cities. You would pick out a minimum of half a dozen reasons why we can't be up there with Man City and Liverpool. We're not on them levels. And you'll be the first to say that. You'll be the first to say that we need players. You're right, we do need players. And you wouldn't be the first to say that there needs to be a shake-up in the club. You know? You're not the only Arsenal player or ex-Arsenal player to come out and state it how it is. And that's the truth. And nothing but the truth. Lucas Podolski recently came out with the truth. And he wasn't scared to speak the truth about Arsenal. And he's right. We have not been able to fulfill our potential. And we haven't. We are flattered to deceive yet again. Time and time and time again. And I've said it in the previous, in my previous videos. Arsenal in the last 10 years is a 2 out of 10. Because it's a joke beyond belief. It is a joke. And, yeah, Mr. Merson, I enjoyed watching your show. I enjoyed watching you on the Sky Sports, I've forgotten what it's called, talk show. And, yeah, it's good to hear you opening up to the demons that troubled you in your past. And it's good to see you now enjoying life as a pundit and live on Gillette Soccer Saturday, even though we haven't seen any of that for 8-9 weeks, but you still liven it up, and you do liven it up. I understand why you won't want to watch Arsenal on a Saturday. You rather do another game, because you know you'll be the first to say how predictable we are. Every time we get into the final third, we want to pass it into the net. Or, you know, it don't work that way, and you know it don't work that way. And I would like to get your personal thoughts on Mikel Arteta as a manager. And I think that's the last thing I'm going to say. So I'm going to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And make sure you enjoy your day. If you're out in the park, be sensible and just follow the guidelines. Don't be a fucking idiot. And please do excuse my French. That's not like me. It's just a frustration within me. Otherwise than that, folks, it's peace, bless and love. I'll be back for this evening's edition. And I'm going to wrap it up from here. Your host, your guy, DLG REPPIN. And I'm out.